Hello, welcome to Trying Flawlessly. How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. This channel is all about helping Muslim entrepreneurs strive flawlessly for their flawless life and flawless business. This video is going to be all about my brand story for Striving for Modesty. So Striving for Modesty started in March 2015 in Chicago, and kind of started off from a conversation that I had with my sister actually in December 2014, where she and I were talking about having like a side business, a side hustle, and how we wanted to like work on something like that. And I was like, hey, maybe I should start selling scarves, but nothing ever really came from it. Yeah, we talked about it, but I never actually did anything to kind of take it off the ground. And then in around February, end of January 2015, I started wearing jilbabs. I noticed how hard it was to find jilbabs and just abayas that were kind of my style and that fit me appropriately. So growing up in Chicago, the vast majority of abayas were geared towards South Asian and Arab females who tend to be either on the short and slim side or tall and big. So it was either if I wanted something that was, for my height, they would just be like drowning me because people assumed if you were, kind of tall, which I'm not really that tall, but taller than most. If you were tall, then that meant you were also really big. So I'd have abayas that were long enough, but would just I would just be drowning in them. So I wanted to kind of, fulfill this need. And then when I started wearing jilbabs, there really aren't any brands in the U.S. or any stores in the U.S. that sells jilbabs. And I refer to jilbabs, I'm talking about the overhead khimars, the two-piece, the French jilbabs, etc. So a lot of my friends would order them from France, from Europe, a few Moroccan brands. And it takes forever for it to get here. So you'd be paying like $20, $30 in shipping fees for one jilbab that also costed like $80. And then it would take you like 2 or 3 weeks to get it. And it was ridiculous. So I was like, hey, I'm going to fulfill that need. So it's kind of where the idea of SFM came from and how it just kind of took off the ground. So when I first started, honestly, I had very little money. I had quit my job where I was doing immigration nonprofit, working with, dreamers and such. So I quit my job to become a nanny because I was like, hey, I'm young. I just finished my master's degree. I've always wanted to be a nanny. Let me just go and do this. So I know it's crazy, right? So I quit my job and, I was living on my own I had roommates, but I was living away from my family. And I pretty much used all of my extra money towards SFM. So I put money aside. I got my website, and it wasn't the greatest website. It was just, an easy website I could put together really quickly and had an e-commerce solution so I could sell a few things. And I had that sorted out. I bought little stickers to make it look more official. I got business cards. So I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't really have the funds to do it as great as I wanted to. But I was like, hey, I have this idea. Let me go ahead and, kick it off the ground. So I started off with just selling just a few scarves. I think it was about 6 to 8 scarves. I had some pens, some hijab embellishments, so decor that you got to your scarves and stuff. And I started off with that. And I remember getting my first order and being just super excited. The person ordered 6 things. They ordered every single scarf that I had and then a couple of pins. And I didn't even know this person. So it wasn't a friend just ordering to support me. It was some random stranger who just saw it on my posts on Facebook. And let me tell you guys, I was excited because it was just wow, hey, this can actually work after all. This was not a dumb idea. So I started off with just selling scarves, and then I kind of started getting more interest, and I was okay, I want to take this a bit more. And my plan was to always be curated. My idea was always to have a select few items because I wanted to keep things exclusive. I didn't want, my buys something that everyone at your masjid is wearing, because I wanted to have this idea of hey, I'm going to buy it, but you couldn't get one because they sold out. It was that exclusive. That's the idea that I wanted for the brand. And I wanted to create this luxury but affordable, modest clothing brand for Muslimas. So I never wanted to have, 60 abayas, 30 maxi dresses, a bunch of skirts. That was just not what I had envisioned for SFM. So I started off with, a couple of jilbab designs. And again, I didn't have a ton of money coming in as far as, for my personal work or for SFM because it was very new. So I wasn't able to just design things from scratch. I worked with a wholesaler in France. It's kind of put out a few pieces here and there. So I had, a couple of jilbabs, I had maxi dresses, and my sales were doing well. Honestly, it was hard for me to almost kind of maintain the amount of packaging I was having to do just on my own. So I was doing really well with that. As I continued to grow, I kind of needed to do more. And what was happening was I was having the same people just order over and over again. I had a group of 20 repeat customers who would order everything that SFM had. Then I realized okay, well, I'm getting the same people, but now they own everything. I don't have anything new. And at that point, again, I didn't want to have a lot of stuff at SFM because again, I wanted to keep it curated, but also didn't have a lot of funds to go and manufacture a bunch of new items. So it was, what am I going to do next? I want to keep these people because obviously they like what they're seeing, they like what they're buying. How do I keep them? So I started kind of just like adding just like not random pieces, but just like any modest clothing. Like I added, harem pants, I added like different styles of jilbabs, I added a few abaya styles, I added just like random things just to have products in the store. And I realized I was kind of like getting away from my vision than what I had for SFM in my head. It was more so just like having things to sell to customers. And I found myself that I was going away from the curated concept. So, at one point, around like end of 2017, beginning of 2015, beginning of 2016, I had over like 70 items at SFM, which that's like a lot to some, but for someone who that was not my goal, for me, it was too much than what I wanted, especially because all the items weren't things I was necessarily excited about, but things that I felt like, hey, someone might like this, let me have it on offer. I was trying to just please everyone was essentially what was happening. So after kind of like assessing everything, I decided to put a pause on things. And from a business standpoint, SFM was doing well at this point. And this is, mid 2016. We were doing pretty well. I had made back everything that I put into SFM. I had made back all of my investments. I had made a profit. So from a financial perspective, I was doing really well. But I wasn't really feeling it anymore. It was more of a chore. For me, it got to the point where it was more of like, okay, put time into this business. Let me go and, sell some buyers. Let's make some money. But it didn't have that like thing, that oomph that I had in the beginning. And that was because I had strayed from my original vision. I had strayed from my original plans. So I wanted to kind of regroup and kind of reassess things. Decided to kind of like pause, especially because I was pregnant at the time and I was gearing up for a move to Abu Dhabi. So I was like, hey, it's the perfect time to kind of just stop. So I closed the store down for a brief period, and then fast forward to summer 2017, and I was like ready to go. I was ready to relaunch. I had started thinking things out. I had planned what my visions were. I had notebooks full of just like, here's what SFM is going to be. It's kind of also when I started thinking of StrivingForModesty as a brand and kind of like fleshing out the components of that. So I hired a designer to come up with logos for, Striving for Modesty, Striving for Clarity logo, Flawless Faithless's logo. And I had a designer to also do the SFM website. And the designer for the Striving for Modesty logos and all the logos did amazing. For the website, that ended up not panning out. I kept getting like delays and just things were not working out. So unfortunately, I let that person go. And that was hard for me because, as an online store, my website isn't done, then like I can't sell, I can't do anything. So that was definitely really hard for me. So I decided, screw this, I'm gonna do my website by myself. And I was like, first I was worried that, am I going steps back? What am I doing? But hey, I had to do what I needed to do. And I didn't want to spend time finding a new designer who could possibly also fail on me and then lose more time. So I was just like, fine, I'm gonna do this myself. I'm gonna learn the skills, I'm gonna do this myself. And I made my website. While making my website, I also started reaching out to manufacturers because I wanted to go back from my goal of like designing my own abayas. And I'm not a drawer at all whatsoever. But as far as like coming up with concepts in my head and saying, here's what I want, I'm pretty good at that. So I started researching manufacturers. I kind of worked on my new marketing, how to relaunch and stuff. And then I had this like mindset shift of, I want SFM to be this amazing brand and I know I can handle this and I know I got this. So I shifted my mindset to the point where I could be more motivated and more confident in what I was doing, which was going to help me do better at this, awesome brand that I was working on. So I started creating my, my new stickers, the counter magnets, all the things if you've ever ordered from SFM, you've received, and that all just came from wanting to, again, brand myself a lot better. I was, learning so much about social media marketing and how to like brand better on Instagram and Facebook, and I looked into getting a social media manager, and I did have one at some point, which was really well, worked really great. And then we relaunched, and you guys, so this was January of 2018, and subhanAllah, like, things weren't amazing. Like, I was surprised by the responses we were getting because, one, on social media, like, we weren't getting that many likes, we weren't getting that many followers, and then when we launched, like, the sales told a completely different story. And to be honest, it's kind of where I say, like, sometimes social media followers don't always indicate that you're getting sales. So I know the business owners who have thousands upon thousands of followers, and I know them personally, and I know their sales are not that great. Then I know some like myself who have less than, a couple thousand followers, and like the sales speak differently. But yeah, so we were like, I was worried when we were launching because I was like, people are liking, people are commenting, but no one's really engaging that much. Like, we're not getting that many followers. And then when we launched and like the weeks afterwards, I was like, oh my goodness, like, Amina, you did something right. Like this was coming together very well. So alhamdulillah, things are going pretty well, and I'm very happy with that. There are definitely still hiccups and struggles that I have. My biggest one now is kind of pretty much deciding how much stuff to offer for SFM, something that I'm constantly dealing with, because I do have my vision, I do have my set ideas, but then I have this thing where, I have this, I have like 20, 30 ladies who will order every abaya that we have and every scarf that we have. And I'm thinking like, okay, now she's ordered all this stuff, I have to give her more stuff to order. So even though I have my, my schedule laid out and I have my day of only having, 10 abayas and 10 this and 10 that and no more for each category, I feel like I'm kind of pressured to have more because I want to be more competitive. So, I'm like, I want max dresses, I want skirts, I want, kimonos, I want this, but it's like, but do you really want that, or do you want that because you want to be able to reach more people? And the truth of the matter is, like, when I picked my business and I picked my niche, I knew what I wanted. I was specific in what I chose. So I need to stick to that. I can't just be like, hey, having max dresses would get more customers. Like, yeah, that might be true, but that also means more manufacturing, more marketing. It means more of everything else that could, yes, the max dresses might make more money, but then when I'm adding all the stuff that I have to spend to the max dresses, it actually might costing me in the long run. So yes, I would definitely say my biggest struggle is pretty much not, crumbling to pressure and not giving in and, saying, hey, this is what I want for my business, these ideas that I have. Yes, this might be what others are doing or what others are looking for, but I don't need to like give into that. And yes, of course, like, do market research, follow what the market is saying. But like I was telling a client the other day, do what you feel is best for your business. Because for instance, if I say like, okay, if I have all these like max dresses and all these other things, yes, I could reach more people, but it also means that I am now competing with every other store that has all these other things versus like, if I'm just doing my focus is just my abayas and jilbabs, my competition is only other abayas and jilbab stores versus if I start adding in like dresses and skirts and all these other stores become my competitors too. So I'm then having to focus more on other companies to see, it's kind of like make sure that I'm doing better than them just as far as how I'm presenting my stuff, the products that I'm offering. So it creates a lot more work. So this is all to say, like, SFM Alhamdulillah is doing well, and I'm just trying to, again, remember to stay focused on my brand identity and what I want for it, and hoping that I can convey that to customers. That's the biggest step. Like, if I can convey what my brand identity is, which I feel like I'm doing a better job of, to, SFM customers and to the general public, then it's just for me to stay on that true path of what I want for myself and for my business. This is essentially the SFM brand story. It's kind of the backstory of how SFM came about, what our wins were and some of our struggles and what we're kind of still going through. And inshallah, as the year goes by, I'm going to keep you guys updated on what I'm doing, because the things I'm learning from SFM is what I'm teaching you guys here. Things that I've picked up and mistakes that I've made is essentially what I'm using as my blueprint for Striving Flawlessly, as well as the advice I've given to other business owners that has made them successful. So thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. Also join the Striving Flawlessly group on Facebook if you're interested in getting more details on how to be an awesome Muslim entrepreneur.